We need to talk about the illusion or the lie of the healed version of you, a future version of you that always thinks, feels, and reacts in a perfect way. And if you haven't noticed, in chasing that version, you have become your own project and also your own cruelest project manager. And that has been exhausting. So today I'm going to talk about the one shift that can help you fire that project manager and let the actual healing start. How does it sound? You know, when we start our inner work, what happens is that we get lost in the how and we forget about the why. Why did you even start your inner work? If you are like me, you started because you wanted to feel better, because you wanted to be free, free from anxiety, from your negative thoughts, from your negative reactions, from all those emotional patterns. But then what happened in reality is that you got so lost in that constant analysis and checking and auditing and correcting yourself that you forgot about the why. And this process of healing became another form of a prison. So you are still stuck, but in a more refined way. I was in the same prison. I remember one time my friend criticized me for something tiny. It wasn't really anything major. But instead of letting my letting myself feel the sting of that criticism in my body, I let that cruel project manager to step in, and then I spent the next 3 hours analyzing what happened. Where did it come from? Was it because of my relationship with my mom? Was it because of my attachment style? When was the first time that this happened? And on and on, you get the picture. And this wasn't just one event, it went on and on until I learned that healing isn't something that you do. Healing is something that you allow to happen. Inner work is like working on a garden. You prepare the soil, you plant the seed, you water it, and then you get out of the way. You can't force your plant to grow. Healing happens when the environment is right, which is when you are ready to let go of that old version of you. And you have no control over its timing. It happens when it happens. So, no matter how cruel you become to yourself, no matter how hard you try to force that healed version of yourself that you have in your mind, it just doesn't work that way. And the more you insist on doing those kind of things, going on that path, the more exhausted you will feel. Now, these days, when I feel that pressure of changing something in myself or that urgency of change, I don't look for another method, another book, another teaching. I just stop and I ask for help. Not help from someone or something outside of me, but from my greater self, from the God within me. And I say this kind of surrender prayer. I say, I can't fix this with my mind. Help me be ready for the change that needs to happen. And as soon as I say that prayer, I feel like I drop the burden. And that experience of letting go is much more healing than any analysis or any method or teaching that you can think of. So if you want to try that, pay attention to the feeling that you have after you ask for help. It might be a sudden quiet, or it might be the physical sensation of dropping a weight in your body. Whatever that feeling is, it's a sign that you're preparing the environment for the change to happen. And if for whatever reason you don't want to do this, you have resistance to saying that kind of surrender prayer, that's okay. Every time you feel the mm, pressure to change anything, any reaction in yourself or any pattern in yourself, just say to yourself, the garden is already growing. And then go for a walk without listening to a podcast. Eat your food without reading or listening to anything. Give yourself permission to be a messy, imperfect human being living an imperfect life, and let the environment do the work for you. That's all you need to do. That's the shift that I was talking about. So I'm going to leave you with a quote from Rumi, and I'm going to read it from my notes because it's better than me explaining it in my broken English. Rumi says, your task is not to look for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. So maybe your only task today isn't to change anything in yourself, or it's not healing yourself. It is just to stop building those barriers of self judgment, self analysis, self accusation, and all of that. And then, if you can do that, the healing find its own way in. Until next time.